Hello, CraftyAndy here, and these are my thoughts. So I just recently watched Bob Ross' Happy Accidents, Betrayal, and Greed on Netflix.
I've been wanting to get this story out for all these years.
And it's definitely an eye-opener. Pretty good documentary. Without spoiling the details, the nitty-gritty is this. After Bob Ross died, the Kowalski family, who are very sue-happy, essentially took Bob Ross's name. The Kowalski family is the ones that own Bob Ross Incorporated, promoted the show and its merchandise. Up until the point of his death, Bob Ross was like Daniel Day-Lewis in the Crucible to these people.
You could hear him screaming, "I'm not giving you my name. You're not getting my name.
I have given you my soul. Leave me my name!"
Mr. Ross wrote the Kowalskis out of his will and testament, leaving everything, including his name and likeness, to his son, Steve, and half-brother, Jimmy. The Kowalskis countered in a lawsuit that he was under work for hire, and thus Ross had no right to cut them out. They won the lawsuit, and Bob Ross's son and family has never received a cent from the millions this company has racked up during the many years after his death.
They literally wanted to steal Dad's name. And did.
I was never interested in landscape oil painting, but if I was, I wouldn't be buying Bob Ross's paints at this point. I long before coming across this understand why Charles Schulz, creator of the Peanuts game, wanted no one else to continue his characters after he died. In turn, I also understand why Bill Watterson was so against Calvin and Hobbes being commodified into t-shirts, shows, and plushies outside of his strip. It's disgusting how someone's creation can have its meaning and impact cheapened all in the name of short-term profit.
Insofar as the Peanuts characters speak for MetLife or any corporation, I always cringe. It just strikes me wrong. I don't want to see Snoopy selling me insurance.
Or worse, become an inescapable plague and seen everywhere to the point where owning any of the merchandise becomes a punchline in itself.
We've seen many comic strip characters go from being, figures you see in the paper may give you a laugh, to being kind of a national blight. In the case of something like Garfield, that at one point was on, I think, 5,000 different products. And the character becomes ubiquitous and begins to feel like a pest or something you can't escape, rather than something you look forward to encountering.
Now, I don't have as much contention against the idea of merchandising, popularizing a character, or being a public figure like Bill Watterson did. Hell, I make my own little compromises with the idea of the show, drawing up fan pieces of my favorite properties I've enjoyed and fellow YouTubers. And this video itself piggybanks off of Bob Ross's documentary, Bob Ross, Happy Accidents, Betrayal, and Greed. I think it's just this very strong feeling I have with the idea that art in all its forms can have sprawling impacts on the world, yet still be seen as completely useless and disposable, while it yet impacts society as a whole in grand ways at the same time. Scott McCloud's explanation of what art is in his book Understanding Comics goes like this. Art, as I see it, is any human activity which doesn't grow out of either of our species' two basic instincts, survival and reproduction. I'm pretty sure that's how he sounds. Without creativity, you're basically dead. You're an emotionless drone going through genetically programmed routines. Anyways, let's bring it back to the topic at hand. What was this about? Oh yeah, Bob Ross, Happy Accidents, Betrayal, and Greed. Actually, when it comes down to it, it all ends up being another case, another thing to add to the pile of grievances when it comes to how corpos treat artists as disposable assets. Adam Duff, Lucid Pixel, has an hour-long video reminiscing about his experience in the art industry working for Disney, EA, and other unnamed companies in relation to the Activision Blizzard controversy.
I had my artwork sold right in front of my face, and I was verbally humiliated and insulted all the time by the same art director. Total piece of shit. And one day he pushed it too far with me, and I asked him after a meeting, after he had claimed all of the work I spent the last 6 months doing was his. I asked him privately to go into an office behind closed doors to be diplomatic about it, and I said, that's not cool. I don't know where you come off thinking that you can rip me off and steal my work. And not only that, I'm sick and tired of the way you're talking to me. I'd like you to speak. You're allowed to not like my face. You're allowed to critique my work. You're allowed to complain about my artistic standards. I'm perfectly cool with that. I'm a newbie. I'm a kid, but you have no business talking to me like that. Enough's enough. You're making it very uncomfortable for me. And he sat across the table. He looked at me right in the eyes and he said, Adam, you're the dumbest, most incompetent piece of shit I've ever had the displeasure of having to work with. And I don't know what the fuck you're talking about otherwise, so get out of my face. Okay? In other words, he basically said, I'm the boss, go fuck yourself. And if you don't like it, leave.
And there are plenty of successful artists on YouTube or just the internet in general who at one point work for major companies only to go freelance later and are happier for it. When I went to college, it was a community college, so the teachers there were people who often worked the actual industry they taught. The biggest prospect given to us, however, was making ads for car companies and the like. Billboards, commercials. I was going through a lot of inner struggle, but ultimately I made no connections and got no career after my degree. And the prospect of doing those kinds of projects did not appeal to me in the slightest. Especially when it came to just doing cars. Like, are you fucking kidding me? I wonder, did I ultimately dodge a bullet? I'll never know for sure, but considering my state of mind, ability to turtle up my emotions when faced with conflict, and having to go against being a people pleaser due to my bullied upbringing, with the stories I've heard, I likely would have just gotten eaten alive, or turned into some quiet, obedient cog. At least that's my way of justifying it to myself regarding my own lack of success in the art field.
How the art directors, how the management staff spoke to the artists in general. They were very rude. They were very demeaning. They were very abusive. It wasn't just critiquing art, it was critiquing people's character. It was making fun of them. And this is where the whole Blizzard story starts to become very, very nostalgic to me. There's a lot of nostalgia associated with hearing these stories from all these different YouTubers and stuff in the news and what I went through. Out of all of the jobs I've ever had, working at Electronic Arts was quite literally the worst job I've ever had. It was a big, fancy, extremely well-paying job, and I couldn't get out of there fast enough.
Of course, I feel like I've only just started. Really, even though I've been meandering around this website since 2006, posting and making videos, it only feels like things have just started coming into focus in terms of the art and videos I want to make. First was college and multiple jobs. Then it was friends wanting to always hang out. Then I moved out, and the job I had to get in order to pay the bills and get a stable living condition kept me from doing art for the next 3 years altogether. Then it was learning to accept and narrow down what I can get done. I can't do everything as much as I try. So now I'm here. I want to draw, I want to entertain, I want to share experiences and ideas, and in order to crank out this stuff on a weekly basis, I need to let go and understand everything I do doesn't have to be on the level of Lord of the fucking Rings. As far as what happened to Bob Ross, it's something we have to keep in mind, especially when it comes to needing agents, teams, and networks in order to promote our personal brands that give us contracts to pay the bills. There was time back in 2013, Instagram and Facebook had a rollback language that was going to give full rights for them to sell the pictures you upload to those sites. These companies maintain such a strict monopoly. I wonder if it will get to the point creators just eat it if they decide to do that anyways with no other options. These are just my thoughts though. Like, subscribe, share, give me ideas for topics and or art in the comments or email me. CraftyAndy Patreon for high-res art, files, and sketchbook, and early episodes. Also CraftyAndy under the Art Pal store for prints and art gallery. Streams on twitch.tv/CraftyAndy live. Check for scheduling, gaming, art making, and live commentary. This channel is mainly focused on entertainment and art, but if you want some real weirdness, go to the Weirdzords channel. Check that out. There is also an invite in the description for our Discord group. You can meet other creators such as myself, live streamers, gamers, artists. It's all there. Like, subscribe, share. As I said, good day.